I was told to not fuck this up, so perhaps I won't, but perhaps I will. This is good to be back. This is my first one back from COVID-19. Is that the case?
Yeah,
Chris
it's
Perry?
good to
Chris
see you
Perry?
here.
My name is Lorenzo. And unfortunately, we have a guest with the same name, so we won't be able to tell who our guest is.
Nah, one of you is a better basketball player than the other. That's all I know.
Hey, listen more, friends, to see what the answer to that is. My name is Colin McGuire. Thank you.
And I'm reluctantly Chris Perry, and this is the Could Be Better podcast. My God, it was like the longest intro. What are you doing?
It was the best. I have Lorenzo sitting next to me, and he's pretty pumped on it.
Yeah, I think he said he'd rather do the intro with us. And I said, I don't think you want to do that. And he goes, no, probably not.
No, great. This is why he doesn't want to do it, because every time we play one-on-one, I beat him 21-0. He knows it. The best part, it's just like masochism, because I'm sitting here saying all this stuff and he's listening to it and he wants to respond, but he can't because it's the intro. So
he could if he wanted to. But speaking of could, if we wanted to, this podcast is sponsored by the one and the only Old Mother Brewing. Colin, people don't know, but today is the 23rd of March. And yesterday was the 22nd of March. And I got to see a really cool show at Old Mother Brewing. It was the artist showcase of Double or Nothing. And when I was there, Paul, one of the best bartenders I think I've ever known, he goes, hey, what do you want to drink? I said, I think I want the Dire Wolf. And he goes, no, you don't. And I go, okay. And so then he tells me,
told him, fuck off. That's what I was said, right?
I almost did, but Paul's got a really big mustache and I kind of feel like I got to respect it, So then Paul goes, hey, no, I'm going to have you tried the new thing yet? I'm like, I don't know what the new thing is. And I'm like, I should know, right? Because they're our sponsor. And it's like, I've screwed up. So then he gives me this big glass and it is literally their new beer. And I go, okay. And I drink it. And it's called Sunsets in Paradise. Do you know
Tell us about it. Tell us.
It is a barrel aged sour. It's 5.8%. It's actually sponsored after Stitch Early. It's his favorite beer as well, guys. It is a delicious sour with strands of some sort of yeast and pineapple, cinnamon, and cloves. It's almost like you're smoking a clove cigarette, which also Stitch endorses. And it tastes just like a clove cigarette with pineapple sprinkled on the end. It's questionably delicious. So please make sure you go out to Old Mother Brewing Company on Market Street and pick up a glass. Colin, so coming back from COVID, we had Genevieve on the last episode and she did an outstanding job. And then I realized because you have too many shares in the company, I can't fire you, but she did a really great job. So I want to make sure that Genevieve.
I was hoping you would fire me. Yeah.
No. I got to pay you severance.
No, she was great. You guys were great on all of that. That turned out really well. I'm jealous that I wasn't able to talk to Kitewave.
I know, because they are just some of the best. But so coming back from COVID, we've had a little bit of a break. I decided, hey, it was time to probably let this kid out, right? And so he's doing great. He is sleeping a bunch, and we've had tons and tons of letters in, hey, how's the baby? What's going on? Can I buy you a bottle of whiskey? And I was like, whoa, I've had too much.
He's been sleeping a bunch is the best. Like Stitch, Lorenzo's right next to me, and he knows a statement like, with the newborn, he's been sleeping a bunch. Might not be true.
It's not, guys. It's he's doing this new thing now where he's hungry all the time, and it's like, man, you just ate 5 minutes ago. What's wrong?
We have a lot in common, then,
dude. And so I need to bring up one thing of fan mail. And I know this is gonna make you really uncomfortable, and I'm sorry. But
I hope so.
Our last episode, there was no fast food talk. There was no, hey, I ate this thing. There's no nothing. So I need you to bring this segment to a full circle. Have you had any terrible food recently? Because I have not.
Let's think. No, I haven't had terrible food. I was on the West Coast, so I had In-N-Out burger.
You're the worst. How do you get your burger?
Lorenzo's.
I'm upset.
He's pissed. He's shaking his head. Chris isn't even as pissed to shake his head. He's just looking away from me. He doesn't want
I'm
to have
angry.
anything to do with it.
Wait, how do you get your burger?
See, okay. So
If you're telling me
I'm
you
not-
get the
I'm not
chicken
gonna
tenders,
spend-
I'm going to leave right
no,
now.
I'm not. But here's my problem. And this is a specific problem to me, and I'm sure I'm the only one. Do you know how they put cheese on their hamburgers?
This is your beef.
Well, figuratively and literally. They put 2 slices of some nonsensical 5-cent cheese and put it in a microwave, and then they do it for like a minute and a half, which is cool if you're going to eat it right away. My problem
You
is
never eat food right away.
I put it in a bag and I go back to where I'm staying, and then it congeals and it gets really, really, really bad. I know In-N-Out Burger has a reputation for being very cool and very great, and it is. I've had some very good burgers. Have you ever had it, Lorenzo? Let's just look. I know it's the intro, but I got to hear what Lorenzo has to say about In-N-Out Burger. Go ahead.
It was cool.
Okay, he said it was cool. This, I just, man, Chris, I know you love it, so
I do. And the thing is, like, so are there better burgers out there? Yeah. Are there better fries out there? You bet. I can literally make those from my freezer because those In-N-Out fries are garbage. But like, my God, you get a double animal style. Like, there's really nothing better. But I'm not one of those weird people that like saves their food for later. Like, I eat food the way that God intended it, which is as soon as it's done, you eat it as fast as you can, because then it's like, oh, it literally burns my mouth. The top of my roof is like the top of my roof of my mouth is like just like peeling, and it's like worth it. But man, like, oh God, animal style is so freaking good. Like,
well, first of all, I want to say yes. Yeah, you're right about that. Second of all, somebody needs to change me when it comes to eating food hot, because I end up just bringing it home and
well, I'm thinking
the
last time we got pizza together, for some reason your pizza is always hotter than mine. And I know you like your plain cheese, and that's cool. And I'm not knocking you, but that's what children eat. But like, realistically,
jeez, wow, did you hear that?
But you took a bite, and the mental picture of this is the best. It's literally like somebody took a hot spatula and like literally set it on the burner, and that's your cheese pizza. And you go and take a bite of it, and you go, and you just set it down.
Lorenzo is falling over laughing right now.
Dude, it's insane. And I'm like, I've never seen a man like get like beat up on by a slice of pizza like that before. Assaulted, as one might say.
So one might say.
I'm eating another piece like right across from him, and I'm chomping away. And I'm like, oh, this is fine. I'm gonna have like sores later. The gums on my back are gonna be gone, and it's like, it's fine. But man, worth it. So
the last time I said to myself, this is fine, I'm gonna have sores later, I already paid $200. Okay.
Dude, my God. So
that shut it all down.
So speaking of,
you have no idea what to say now. So let's just get to it. It's Stitch early. We got one announcement though. We got one announcement, and then we'll wrap it up. So we have a show. It's the Dumb Valley album release show.
This is happening at none other than Old Mother Brewing. The day of the week is obviously Saturday, because what other night do you do a show? And it's April 9th, Dumb Valley album release. I think they're gonna have like flexi vinyl or something like that. That's gonna be insane. I don't know what they're gonna do. It's gonna be sweet. And then we have the legendary The Timberwolves. JK. Timberwolves are playing. And then All Those gonna play. And All Those is one of the sweet secrets of Frederick. And I'm excited to be there at that show. It starts at the normal time. You guys know, 7 p.m. It's free. It's gonna be awesome.
And I would like to say this, because I know we got to go home here with all of it. Go home is a professional wrestling term. That means you go finish the match. I'm introduced anyway. Nobody cares. But I would also say one thing we did not get a chance to talk about with Stitch Early was Asa Weeks, and who is carving a path for himself in Frederick that is incredible. I was going to say something about him opening the show because then 1,000 people would come, because I think 1,000 people would come see him alone. He has done an amazing job. And we had him on the podcast, so go listen to that in the archives.
I mean, he's the nicest human I think I've ever met, which is just crazy. Because
he lost on a full court shot in NBA Jam.
Dude, I literally threw it from underneath the basket. It was incredible.
I want to say this. It's going to be even more awkward that he's sitting right next to me now, but the impact that the person in this episode has had on me in my life has been profound. It really has. This person has made me smile and think good things during times when things were not great. I guess he's going to explain a story where we met that I was just a drunkard coming up to him, which I didn't expect him to just say. He then also called me racial slurs, but I will tell you, I've been to this man's house for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, and
did you wear the beanie?
No, I didn't wear anything. They kicked me out right away.
Like, oh, the turkey's here. Cool.
Who is this very pale white person? Let's get him out of here. No, this person means the world to me. It is such a blessing to know him and work with him and all that. And honestly, I don't know where I'd be without Lorenzo Stitch Early. So we got to talk to him, and all he wanted to talk about was how I keep beating his kid at basketball. So that's all we know. But I just want to say that this is a very, very important interview for me, and I love him. He's right next to me. It's so weird. So it's just like, I guess when we stop recording, I'm going to take off his jacket.
Yeah, it's like this. I feel like this can't get any more uncomfortable. But then I'm like, yeah. I'm watching it happen, and it's like, okay, yeah. So this is the interview with Stitch Early, and it's a blast, and big fan, big friend of the show. It's gonna be great. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, goodbye.
We are here at the Could Be Better podcast, and we were doing another Zoom session. For folks that don't know, I had a baby here recently, and I am enjoying not sitting next to Colin. However, our guest is sitting next to Colin. Stitch Early, what's up?
Nothing much. Glad to be here.
Chris couldn't talk because he was taking a swig of beer. That's how much being a dad means to him.
It was medicine for the heart, you know?
It'll do that sometimes.
So yeah, we're here with Stitch Early. This is one of my favorite people in the entire world, so much so that we are sitting so close together.
We are. Like, I feel like this is first date.
I move quick on a first date, so you better be
as long as the food is good.
Yeah, it's either a first date or like the Santa lap thing at like the Fredericktown Mall. You know, you're never sure.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I might be too big to be sitting on Santa's lap.
But that's a photo I'll pay for.
I do, man. Sitting on Santa's lap. That's like the first time I ran Malachi out the gym.
But Colin, like, so Colin loves to bring up the fact that he has beat my son in basketball. What Colin does not realize is that my son is now 6'4", 220 pounds. And
how big was your son when he beat him the first time? Probably the only time.
The first time Colin ever beat Malachi, I think Malachi might have been like 12.
That was the first and last time.
No, because he beat you last year. And no, not last year, was the year before last. Because remember, you paid him in quarters. You bet him $20, and you paid him $20 in quarters, a bag full of quarters.
So, he is savage.
We got to talk about this. We got to talk about this just for 1 second. We went we played. Now I was on the men, if you remember. I was coming off ACL surgery, MCL surgery. I had a concussion. At that point, I had SARS and I was a broken man. And then this guy, he wants to play because I always, I ran him at the gym, beat him 11-0, 12-0, 100-0. And then he says, well, let's play. I said, well, okay, young son, I'll play you for $20. We play. I got my knee brace on, looking like the old man I am. He elbowed me. White Robert Parrish, he says. There, he just dropped my symbol too. I don't know if anybody heard that. So then we play. I was up like 1,000-1. And I got tired. My knee was hurting. So then he might have won, but I said, I'll pay you. And then he goes over to the spot that Could Be Better Studios. And when I break out a roll of quarters, I've never seen a kid so deflated.
Yeah, the look of disappointment on his face. Like, what do I do with this?
And it's the first of many when you're friends with Colin, right? But dude, come on. A roll of quarters, and you didn't do like a bag or you have like nickels or anything?
Nah, he gave him rolls of quarters.
And here was the best part. Anybody who knows me knows I got a candy machine. So dude started filling my candy machine with my own quarters.
Disrespectful.
Well, no, I got my quarters back. Go ahead.
Now, Malachi, he's a Oakdale champion. Men's kids state. What is it? High school state?
Yeah, he won the state championship. I was down there 2 weeks ago, Alabama. So his school, Lehigh, they won the state championship. I drove down there for it. He tore his ACL last year, so he was able to work back, and then he played in the tournament with his team this year, and then they won the states, which is dope.
That's awesome.
I texted him too. I texted him and I said, congratulations, but I'm going to run you out the gym. And he said, who's this old man? And that was it.
But it's interesting, Colin, because he probably owes you like some sort of like some sort of royalty, right? Because I think once you beat him, he realized, I need to really step up my game, and he wouldn't be the player he is today if he wasn't taking the L from you.
It's not just this, and you appreciate this too, because we also hopped on the sticks. He was on NBA 2K. We got on 2K, and he was acting like he knew how to play. I even gave him my character to play for like 2 games. I come out because we were doing something. I don't know what I don't remember. We were doing something. He was playing with my character for real, and he lost 2 games, and all of a sudden my averages went down. I said, "You are banned. You are banned." So congratulations. So what's the name of the high school?
Lehigh in Huntsville, Alabama.
Look at that. Huntsville, Alabama is a cool spot.
Yeah, Huntsville, Alabama it's low key like Frederick. Like when I go there, like it has those same. I've never been there for a long amount of time to like go out and see what the city life is like. But when I go down and visit and have went to games and stuff, it gives like that Frederick feel,
Yeah, there was a cool little coffee shop there called Planet Avalon many moons ago. And the dude was like real big mustache guy. Definitely would have worked at Cafe Nola if, and it was a cool like coffee shop bookstore venue. And it was awesome. It was cool. It was cool. So now that we're here on the basketball podcast, Could Be Better. Colin, I am upset because I feel like ever since you started talking about NBA on this podcast, it's turned into like a total thing where people go, does Colin really like basketball? And I don't know if that's a known enough fact.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Is he serious right now? I'm looking at Stitch. Are you serious? Who has asked you that?
The fans. I'm telling you, they write in. We have our Patreon subscribers. They don't know what's going on. So Stitch, like, has your relationship, did it really start around basketball with Colin?
So no, my relationship with Colin started on a drunk night at Cafe Nola, and I was not the one who was drunk. Just to put that out there. Anytime I do go out,
you always got to put me out.
anytime I do go out, like I'm super low key. Like I'm a big guy. I like to be in the back, And so it was a day at Nola, and I remember I think Poetic Endurance had did a show.
That dude hated me.
He asked me to come.
He did, remember that he did.
He asked me to come up and rap. So I did that a little bit, and then I faded to the back. You know what I mean? And then this guy, comes up to me. At the time, I've heard the name Colin, but I haven't met him yet. So I kind of know the face. I see him, comes over, taps me. He's like, "Hey man, yeah, we gotta get together. We gotta link up. Let me get your number." And I'm just like, some people they say things like that in public. "Oh yeah, we're gonna do a song together," or "Oh, let's link," and that never ever happens. So I was just like, "All right, cool. I'll get this dude my number, and we'll see where it goes from there." And I think that was the day that our kind of relationship started. And then from there, it did transition to the basketball court. And I, to be honest, when Colin said, "Hey, let me know the next time that you're going to play basketball," I was like, all right, like, you know what I'm saying? From the looks, it's very much white man can't jump. Like,
oh, come on with this.
1000%. I'm Colin. Are we gonna be honest?
We're about to be honest.
So it's very much white man can't jump. Like, if most people who see me, if stereotypically you see 6'5", 270, you're like, oh, that guy must play basketball, and he's black. He has to, must. There's nothing else. He's not a chess champion. Like, like, you know what I'm saying? So in return, my prejudice, I'm looking at Colin, and this was
reverse racism.
Hey, not a problem. I'm allowed to do it. I'm black. so me looking at Colin, I'm like, okay, he works for the paper. Like, he likes to write about basketball, not play basketball. Like, so I invite him out, and I'm like, oh, yo, Colin can really play basketball. Like,
where was home court?
Fort Detrick. Yeah, right? Fort Detrick. The first time we played, it was at Fort Detrick. And so I'm taking them.
You got a group.
Yeah. And so we would all go on Fort Detrick and play. And I was like, yeah, come out. This is when I'm going up there. You can ride with me up there. And these are people like Colin don't know these people.
And these dudes looked at me when you went on. I stepped on the court. You got like everything you're thinking right now. You're right. You're right about.
Do you have glasses and like the froggies, or?
No, I didn't. I didn't wear no glass. I don't wear glasses when I play basketball. Yeah, but I did look pretty stupid.
But when he stepped, it's just because you remember Colin had longer hair then. You know what I mean? Like, so everybody kind of was looking like. He's like, all right, I guess we gotta pick him up. Like, yeah, we need 10.
We got the pity pick.
We gotta fill 10.
Yeah, and then when he started playing, it was like, oh, he got some game. Like, all right, he could play. He's not a person that, you have some people that they play just to like for recreational purposes.
For fitness.
Like, yeah, for fitness and things. Like, but Colin, I was like, oh, Colin actually got some game to him.
I remember one of the first times down the court, I hit you with the no look, and you went up, and you didn't dunk, but you went up high. Yeah, and nobody was going to touch you though. It was one of those things where it was like that Steve Nash thing where bam, yeah. And I hit you and you went up, and I remember you running back down or running to the other end. Okay, Colin. Yeah. Okay. And then everybody else, and all of a sudden from that point on was because before they were like, Zoe, why are you bringing this dude? why are you bringing this dude?
Oh, that's funny.
I love that you mentioned Steve Nash because Colin, that is the hair. Like it was just like it's not super thick, but man, does it flop?
And when it get wet a little bit, it start flowing when you run. Just get a little breeze under it.
Yes.
Man. Yeah, but I will take exception to the idea that the first time we met was when I was all drunk. I mean, that could be every night, but hilarious. But we had known each other because you had sent the music in before. Oh, yeah, you had sent the music in. So and this is going to kind of set up the first music break that I want to talk about. Look at that. We're getting the whatever that is from Chris. The shooter fingers. But you sent me that first album and I fell in love with it. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I want you to set up this first song we're about to hear because I know the first one you picked was from you. Okay. You want the people to hear you. So tell us what this is.
So the first song that I sent over, I think it was the first one that we did. I remember we did the Frederick one take. Yeah. And when we did Frederick one take, I remember you hit me and was like, hey, what are you doing today? And I was like, I mean, I'm not doing nothing right now. And so he's like, yo, you trying to come through and do this Frederick one take? So I'm like, all right, give me a minute. Let me hit my bandmates and see if they can make it. We drove out. I literally play it to them like in the studio. I play them the song. Like we've never played this song before. We've never done this song. So I like play them. I'm like, yo, so this is the one I want to do. And then the girl who normally does the hook, she couldn't come to do the hook. So I was like, yo, I think I'm gonna just rap the hook then. I'm gonna have to do it like a flip. So we'll just, and then so we literally did the Frederick one take in one take, like no rehearsals, no anything. So definitely like a classic moment in my musical discography. So yeah, so the first song that I think we playing is Gorilla Baboon Funk. Repeating. Been in rhyme since 1999. Seen so many who be kind, rewind, and become big in biz by being shine. I'm just trying to be boy 3K mine. The love below my speaker box will show that I'm not in it for what bakers throw. It seems as if they rise as quickly though and eat the bread and then commence to flow.
Then I see when I'm at my highs that I'm grateful for my.
Low lows, I've been dealing with them all my life. I know when I see my highs, it was all worth the sacrifice. I've been praying for them, yes Lord, since all rise. The compromise is to switch styles and blend in a disguise. But I'm doubt fire never, my clever mo better blues. Giant shadows oblique in the shine of my lighted hues. Abuse time and doubt I did. Use the vision hidden behind eyelids. Choose to listen to negative, I slid back and forth and forth, back and forth and forth. Back when I didn't even know what you ain't know. I was gifted with the flow. Yeah, you got it. Was reminded I was a master through baptism. Now I show enough, got the glow. Prince aura, sorta hard, suppressing the frustration. Knowing what you hold, still trying to remain patient. Feeling like woosah, namaste, Hakuna Matata. Gotta step back, Nabule, I'm on a manana. Word of mama always told me keep the Lord first. Armor every day, invisibly said in my concert. Honor when I pray, hand in hand, let the palms work. Amen. That's when it begins, when words turn to actions. Pressure hits home and the tears hit the napkins. Gut punch, get punched drunk, and then it happens. Decision time. Call it quits or continue grind. Different I'm cut from cloth that the king designed, tailor-made. For every time that I fail, it's experience needed for the success I will inhale. Then I blow it out. It's purpose in every quote. Catch a contact, you could call it secondhand hope. I don't want to be discouraged. No, nah, no, nah. I just want to have you in my home. I wanna have you in my home, said I wanna have you every day when I close that door. And I begin to let light show. Then I see when I'm at my high, that I'm grateful for my low. Every day when I close that door. And I begin to let light show. Then I see when I'm at my high, that I'm grateful for my.
All right. I love that song. And the thing is, this is one of the few times that we do this when we come back from a song that we don't actually hear because we edit them in afterwards.
No, we listen to each one in the moment.
That's right. I'm
like
so
everybody.
sorry. Yeah. I didn't mean to pull back the curtain that much, but I do know that song a lot. And I think I've told you this before, man. Sometimes when I need inspiration, I watch that one take. That song to me is best. And one thing about it too was the band. You were talking about the band earlier. drums and keys, and that's it.
Mhm.
It's drums and keys and you.
Yeah.
So tell us with that, what's the difference between that version and the one that I'm assuming is going to be on this upcoming record? Or there's going to be an official version. Maybe.
I guess the difference between like the live version is like what we did at the Frederick one take, it was more off a feel. I always say I like performing with the band because it just opens up the possibilities of what you can do. Whereas with the track, you're kind of like stuck within the confines of what the track is giving you. If it says it's 3 minutes, if the hook is 8 bars, you got to do it for 8 bars, you know, whereas like with the Frederick one take, what I did for the hook ended up becoming a bridge at shows. You know what I mean? So it's able to interchange things and be able to, you know, elongate things with the band. So once you hear it, when we eventually hopefully do this live recording, you'll be able to hear it with, you know, the drums, the keys, bass, you know, different things like that in the background vocals and the actual singer of the song.
And how much does that change though, Stitch? Like going from, hey, here's what I want to do. Here's my Frederick one take version. Here's my studio version. And then there's I'm doing this live version because every band that I've been in, we've always kind of wrote the song, recorded the song, and then we started playing it out live. And then by the time we started playing it out live, it kind of felt like, oh, let's do this thing different. But then it was already recorded. So we kind of like missed that opportunity. So we would do things different live. But what's that process like for you with that song? Because it looks like it's kind of involves into 3 different areas now, but it seems like it's different in each 3.
Yeah, I think we kind of play it. The dope thing about the band and the guys that I play with, Dan and Marcus, Dorian, Santia, who sing background, is just it's a free flowing type of thing. So like we'll be in rehearsal and somebody might hum something, you know, and I'll hear it and be like, oh, yo, that'd be dope. So, hey, before the hook, we're going to, after my verse, we'll come in with that piece and then we'll come in with the hook. So it allows it just to be a little bit more free flowing in a show, and then also being able to feed off of the audience. So we may see how the audience is vibing to a particular way that the drummer is playing. And I might just kick it to the drummer and just be like, hey, I'm not going to rap right now. Hey, it's going to be the drummer solo real quick. And then we'll come back in. So it's really a lot of it is like watching a lot of like James Brown. You would see James Brown had a lot of things with eye contact and hand movements and stuff that the band kind of just knew what he was saying based on those things. So there's definitely a lot of that when I'm on stage with the band, where being able to look at them and be like, hey, keep going with that. Now, we're going to stay right here. Like, yeah, the song is 2 minutes, but it's 5 minutes by the time we're done with it. You know, so that's the one plus about having the band, is just being able to have that freedom.
That's cool. That's cool. That is the Colin McGuire school of thought, I believe. Hey, I know the song is only 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but let's loop that. Let's run it back. Let's
go. Some people may like that. Some people might not, but you know. Well, so this is going to, I have 2 questions that I wanted to throw to both of you on this. And we will start with the first one that's very obvious. And Chris, I'll throw it to you first. Hopefully you will then somehow find a way to throw it to my dear friend, Mr. Stitch. Colin rums him at the gym early. he can't. He's laughing so hard right now. By the way, I'd love to do a whole podcast on the lyrics to Gorilla Bamboo Funk, because that was those. I know all those lyrics at this point. I watch it so much. Yeah. Repeat. So this is the thing, Chris. Now I got to ask you this. This might come up every few episodes. You're father now.
Yeah.
How has that changed? How has that changed you when it comes to your relationship with music? I think you're about a month in, right? About a month in as we record this.
Yeah. So it's like 20 days.
And has that affected your relationship with wanting to be creative with music or art at all? Has it mattered? Is it even something that comes into your head? Of course, I throw the same thing to Stitch here in a second, but Chris, you go first.
Yeah. I mean, from a musical output standpoint, I'm not sure yet. I think in those first, several weeks, it's kind of like your hands are full with all sorts of things, whether it be shit, diapers, vomit, or just you're just trying to catch some sleep. That's kind of what that's kind of where it's been recently. But what was kind of cool is like, so my brother came by we were home for a couple of days and then he wanted to swing by. So he and his wife came over. And he asked me, he's like, hey, so what's the first thing you're going to play him? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he's like, he's throwing out some of like my top band. So there's like a band from Sweden called Refused, kind of the pioneers of post-punk, screamo, right? I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But and he's like,
shape of punk to come.
I know, yeah.
Shape of punk to come.
Shape of punk to come, life changing, so good. But then he's like, oh, what about like some like Manchester Orchestra or some Weezer? And it's like, dude, I don't know. But it's like, but I could go
Weezer
classic.
would be great.
And it's like it all fits, but like I just don't know. So it's kind of this weird spot of, man, like the whole world is almost like a blank canvas now, and it's really cool to kind of world build with your kid. And so that's like I think that's kind of where I'm at with it. So I don't know, like because I'm handing it off to Stitch because I'm a professional, I don't know, Stitch, if that was the same for you or not, where you're like, hey, music is changing and this has changed everything, or is it just kind of, hey, I'm going to kind of just walk through each door when I get that chance to walk through the door. Like, oh, hey, that record's out. Hey, this was the last thing I was playing. Hey, this is what CD was in my car.
Yeah. So I think for me, my biggest thing is like introducing her to like different styles of music just in general. So I know the first thing she ever heard, one of my favorite directors that puts out movies is Spike Lee. And one of my favorite movies is Mo Better Blues. And so one of the first things that she ever heard was Denzel playing on Mo Better Blues. And she used to cry, and I would literally play Mo Better Blues, like the music parts of Mo Better Blues, and she would stop crying. Like she would lay in the bed and just stop crying, you know what I mean, during those times. So one of the things I think, if it's in line with the question, that having a kid, and especially, my daughter, in the house, changes is sometimes even how you listen to music. So sometimes, like as a writer of music, you want to be like complex and you want to have like deeper meanings and things like that. And with her being a kid, I find that some of the stuff that she likes the most is like the most repetitive things, you know what I mean? So
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark. but for her, before Baby Shark, her favorite song was J-Rock's Win. And it was literally, if I would put on, I have videos of her as a baby and me playing Win, and she's just in the back like win, 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 because it's the same thing. It's almost like her learning words and what I mean, things like that. So now with her being 5, at school they had career day, and I love my daughter. Like, and so it's like, Michaela, what do you want to be when you grow up? She's like, Daddy, I want to be a rock star. Dead serious, like fingers and everything. She got the rock star hands and everything. Like, I'm used to rapper hands. You know what I mean? She has rock star hands. So to school, she wore her black tutu with black leggings and her leather jacket, with her chain and her hair up. So that night, we literally had a session where I turned on YouTube and I played her some of my favorite. So I played System of a Down. I played Toxicity. Like, I played her all of those. I played Queen and just played, and she's just sitting and she's like, oh, I like this. Nah, I don't really like that. I don't like how he looks. So it's literally just opening her up to all types of music and not just like what I may mostly listen to. So it's one of those things to where as she grows, I think the best thing is to make her a well-rounded individual, especially in what she hears. And then if she does eventually want to go into the arts or anything like that, her palette is a little bit more diverse than just like, oh, I only listen to this.
Yeah. And I don't know what your upbringing with music was, Stitch, but it's like I grew up in a pretty, looking at it now, it was less toxic, but what it is, what it is. It's like a very conservative Christian, I went to church, did the thing. My mom listened to Garth Brooks. And then all of a sudden I started singing the Thunder Roll song. And she's like, oh no, it's about an affair. My kids can't sing that song. And so she's like, nah. And so then from there, it was just like Christian tunes, Christian Let bookstore. That was it. But then like, as I got older, I got a job. And then it was the oldies was the only thing that was playing on that radio. And then I heard everything. And then that's where I was like, oh, like that's amazing. And it's not just some really bad 90s Michael W. Smith Petra nonsense of like, oh, this is you know what I'm talking about. But it's like it's that bad stuff. And I'm like, oh man, there's guitar players. And then growing up and then realizing, oh, that's what Freddie Mercury that looks like. That's who Stevie Nicks is. That's who Ozzy Osbourne is. And I'm just like, whoa, this is crazy. It's insane that like you're now watching YouTube videos with your daughter and she's getting that, not only like the visual representation of like who these people are, because like some pretty crazy looking, but then like the music's also like classic, timeless.
Facts.
That's so cool. And like I didn't even think about like watching YouTube with my kid. Like that's just like a mind-blowing moment.
For me growing up, like my mom was Mennonite.
Yes.
No, I'm just playing. I'm just joking.
Is that why you got it?
I was just like, it was like, oh, Black Mennonite? But so growing up, my household, it was almost like two different sides. Whereas like in the early stages, my mom was still like young and going to clubs. So there was like a lot of house music, and a lot of hip hop. And then my dad was heavy into like jazz. So there was like a lot of Najee and, stuff like that being played. Chubb Rock was heavy. So and then I had uncles who were younger. And so with having uncles who were younger, like my first tape that I ever had, and yes, I did say tape, was Snoop Dogg Doggy Style. And my second tape was Ice Cube Lethal Injection. So you have to think I'm a 8 or 9 year old kid, like listening to W Balls on Doggy Style. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have no idea what none of this is. Like, I'm like, I don't know what Doggy Style is at this moment.
Wait a second with that though. But that gets you into a groove though. Like that's the thing, especially about a record like that. You understand music then. This is not, and now I guess I'm not going to go deep into the we're too old thing, because the music now, like you don't hear a lot of groove. You don't hear a lot of that gets you into it. You tapped me for a minute there. I'm going to get to that, but you guys actually just organically brought me to the second question. I know this is a really long segment, but I don't care. It's our podcast, so everybody can go to hell. Go eat shit, people. Go eat shit. That's why I ain't taking. Well, that comes back to the second question that I had that I wanted you guys to both talk about. Stitch, I want to start with you here because you were just on a roll talking about stuff anyway. Both of you had the church be a big role in your life coming up, especially your formative years of music. So how does that affect you now? Like, is that something, and I'll pass the mic your way here in a second, but like, is this something that you want to instill in your daughter? Is this something you want to continue with yourself? Like still participating and still finding that connection between music and faith and all of that stuff? What does all of this play on a grand scale to you?
So I would say for me, like my mother, when we moved to Japan is when like my mother started like getting heavy, like in church. Cause there was really I was 12 when we moved to Japan. So my mother started getting heavy in the church. And I remember one of the first CDs I bought was DMX's Dark and Hell is Hot. And I remember my mom found that CD and like snapped it in half and like threw it out. So up until this point, like I was a kleptomaniac. I stole everything. Like all the time. Like, so that was the first CD I actually spent money on and I bought like with my money. And my mom just like snapped it because she saw It's Dark and Hell is Hot and was like, what kind of satanic stuff are you listening to? Like, what's going on? And now, like if you were to ask my mom, you know, rest in peace, DMX, one of the people that she would have wanted to meet the most is DMX, because as I got older and mine and my mother's relationship grew and I got to actually sit with her and play his music for her and like speak to her about, you know, that battle between good and evil and things of that nature, it opened her eyes up like, oh man, it's a lot deeper than what you hear on the surface. So I think something like that for me and in my music is something that I always, I honestly feel it's helped me to open up my creativity, to be able to bring across those messages and those principles in my music without being preachy, without feeling like I'm talking down to people or that I'm like better than people. But
is that, do you think that's a stigma though? Do you think that that's something that you want? Like when we went to, and I hope we talk about this the next segment, going to Austin, Texas, to do it with South by Southwest. Yeah. Like, is that something that you feel like people don't give you enough of a real chance because of?
I will say in certain circles, like I'm not the person that sits and is like, yes, I'm a Christian hip hop artist, but I'm also not the person that sits and says I'm not. Like I'm a person who happens to be a Christian that does music. Like Chris just had a child. Like I don't look at Chris and Chris doesn't look at me. I don't look at Chris and go, oh man, Chris is a white father. Like, no, I just go, Chris is a father. Like he's a father. He's just a father that happens to be white. You know what I mean? So I feel a lot of times in music.
So with me, it was like he's a white basketball player that he don't know that.
Pretty much. There were no kids involved. Spare the kids. So yeah. So it's like, so in music though, I think we're quick to, you look at like a person like Common Sense because he's speaking about consciousness and, you know, Black power and things that, so, oh, we're going to push him over into conscious rap. When to me, Common raps better than a lot of your favorite rappers who's rapping about whatever they're rapping about. You know what I mean? So I think that we're just quick in music to place people in certain boxes. And for me, I choose to like, no, I don't want to be in a box. I just want to do what I do when I do it. And if you happen to listen, I'll have people that listen and go, and they'll come to me like questioning, like, yo, you go to church? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, oh, that makes sense. I can hear, like, I heard some stuff. Like I heard some stuff and I thought it was that, but I wasn't sure. And then I'll hear people, I didn't have people come, yo, I was just rolling up listening to you, yo, that joint was classic. Like, and I'd be like, oh, yo, I appreciate that just as much as the other one. Like, no problem. Roll up again. Like,
so the thing is, like, at the end of the day, you're you. And that's it. And you put that there. Yeah. And what anybody else wants to do with that is what everybody else wants to do with it. That's it. Is that the same with you, Chris, when it comes to your religious background?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's that box fitting into thing that I just never was into. And it's like, I get it from like a marketing standpoint, right? Where people are like, oh, well, this is a Christian rapper. I mean, like the big one, right, is Lecrae, right? So like every like white kid at youth group knows like, oh, who Lecrae is. But then at the same time, like at a certain point, you get to a level where you're like, hey, like just because Lecrae says like, he's in Christian Light Bookstore doesn't mean that he's not coming out saying Black Lives Matter. Not that, and it's not that he's not going to come out and talk about like political things and how fucked up the system is. And it's like, oh, he's going to write a song about how your white evangelical church is more toxic than it is good. Like the guy doesn't discriminate at all. But like for us to do this whole, and the thing is like, he is legendary. Like regardless of what you think about,
facts,
faith or religion aside, like the dude is doing things that like, I don't know, it's legit. So it's like, so like I'm a fan, but at the same time, like I'm a white, like, youth group kid that like, that's where I first heard about him. And it's like, oh, and then like, he's on tour with Toby Mac and it's like, oh, Toby Mac, come on. So it's like, you get to this point where it's like, you see how the game is played by the record execs and all the stuff like that. And especially the whole contemporary Christian music scene, it's all trash. But when it comes to like people being people and you being genuine and being transparent on who you are, and then saying, hey, this is an extension of me. It's not just one part of me. I kind of feel like that is literally what Jesus did. And so it gets really difficult. It gets really difficult for me to be like, why are we putting this in a box? And then it becomes Christian music or it becomes Christian rap. I'm like, dude, like how small is your brain that like you have to feel like it has to fit in this box in order for it to be this, and this, because there are tons of people that want nothing to do with Jesus that are doing way more for the kingdom of God or way more for like a community of people that like a lot of Christians don't do at all. And that's
No, I
my
feel you.
soapbox. But like, this next song, whatever this is going to be, because this is the longest segment I think we've freaking done ever.
No, it's a good one though.
Yeah, I did. Wow, that was a hell of a transition. That's why he gets paid all this money. He gets paid. Set this up. This next song.
So the next song, talking about politics and things going on in the world. So in 2020, there was a lot of, civil unrest and things like that happening. There were, I believe, George Floyd. I believe that was 2020. Ahmaud Arbery, I believe that was 2020. And there was just a lot of, civil unrest in the U.S. And it kind of was one of those things that trickled from the U.S. to around the world. So me and my best friend, who was also my producer, Mark Billups, we had nothing but time on our hands because both of our jobs had stopped with COVID happening. So neither one of us were working at the time. And we were like, man, let's start recording some music. So we were working on some stuff. And then one day he was on vacation and he had hit me and was like, yo, I think we should do something speaking about like the times that we're in and everything that's going on. Almost like a political record to a certain extent, but like from our standpoint of being able to give inspiration through what everyone, especially Black people at the time were going through. And we put out a project called Black Gold under the name The Arise Collective, which is what we go by as a group. And this is one of the tracks off of it. And I believe it is Black Gold.
In the syrup, we demand change, rejecting orders to cheer up. Your miseducation needs to clear up. Standing on the soapbox now, you can hear us loud. You can hear the sound of the spirit. Blacker than ever, we stand fearless. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us.
You can keep the rice and the syrup. We demand change, rejecting orders to cheer up. Your miseducation needs to clear up. Standing on the soapbox now, you can hear us loud. You can hear the sound of the spirit. Blacker than ever, we stand fearless. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. You can keep the rice and the syrup. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. You can keep the rice and the syrup. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. You can keep the syrup and the rice. Demand my respect, protect and honor my rights. And I ain't giving up without a fight. A voice for the voiceless, healing the Black plight. Message from the freedoms I recite. Standing for liberties in spite. We charged up ready to take flight. We charged up ready to take flight.
You can keep the syrup and the rice. Demand my respect, protect and honor my rights. And I ain't giving up without a fight. A voice for the voiceless, healing the Black plight. Message from the freedoms I recite. Standing for liberties in spite. We charged up ready to take flight. We charged up ready to take flight.
You can keep the rice and the syrup.
We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us.
You can keep the rice and the syrup.
We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us. We charged up now, you can feel us.
Hey, no, slow it down. 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 Hey, no.
You don't curse in your raps. Eminem's mad at you.
Eminem would love me.
Eminem said, Eminem said, you don't curse in your raps, but I do. So You too.
Think-
Oh, I know.
M curse is enough for everybody. Let's be
Well,
honest. We're
I can
good.
also say this. I can also say this though, as a person, it's not like a rap thing. I've been around you. I've been around you in intimate settings.
You've been around me like in a bad different settings.
Like every single setting anybody could possibly think of, including the bedroom. Just kidding.
Yeah,
That one time.
That one time.
You heard about it. Chris knows about it too. I told him. I never forgot. I thought you did, but you didn't. So I'm happy about that. Anyway, I've been around you in so many different settings. We traveled together to Austin, Texas. I stayed with you for a week while you performed at South by Southwest, which was amazing. You did a record release at 200 East when we organized this scavenger hunt, which was even like that secret
Downtown city.
I know. When you think about it, it's like, what the hell were we doing? But we did all this stuff. I've never heard you curse. You don't curse in your raps, but you also told me, and this was one time we were just chilling, and this wasn't all that long ago. I think one time you just came over and we just rocked it. I've never heard you say a swear word, and I don't think you are capable of saying a swear word. So what's your position on that?
What, as far as people cursing?
Well, that and putting it in your art, like that's obviously a conscious decision to not put it in your art, right?
I won't even say it's a conscious decision. Like I think for me, when I make music from a place of who I really am. Like, so I also don't talk about guns in my music because I'm not walking around toting.
You got guns?
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy. Like, it's so easy to I always say, like, the person that lives in Frederick, but they'll tell people outside of Frederick that they're from like DC.
Those people can go home.
It's like you're not from DC, you're from Frederick. Like, yeah, this is the DMV area, but you're from Frederick. You know what I mean? So I try not to get on my music, and when I'm writing music, I try not to write or say anything that like I don't actually do. Like, you know what I mean? So in my everyday life, I don't curse. Have I cursed? Yes, I have cursed. Have people got cursed out? Yes, people have gotten cursed out.
Can you
Like,
give us an example?
like-
Give us 30
Yeah,
seconds
Stitch,
of you
yeah, no,
cussing.
I don't want 30 seconds, but
hilarious.
I want to know.
You should just bleep every word that I say right now. just for
what's your go-to when you're hot? And you don't have to say it, but you can give me like because
I'm trying to think, because like the only person
It's Cheetos, isn't it?
the only person that has probably heard me curse is my wife.
No, and it was me when I beat you.
I don't think that's ever happened.
Ew.
So it couldn't have been that one. But yeah, like in those moments of like arguing, like in the house, that's probably like the only time it's happened. Like if I bump or stub my toe or something, like I just feel like, ow. Like,
What do you say? Oh, shucks.
Nah, I don't even like, what is the oh shucks gonna do? I just feel like, dang, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm worried about the toe, like not what's coming out my mouth. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, so for me, it's not in my everyday vocabulary. So it's not something that I necessarily have to worry about when writing music. Now,
Sure.
Something that like I may say freely around certain friends and certain people is like the N-word, like that may come up. You know what I mean? Just in my everyday talking and things of that nature. Now, that's something that I consciously don't put in my music.
I've never, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
We were talking about, having a lot of experiences together. I've never heard that even on the basketball court.
I don't just be walking around just, oh, what up, my, like that just doesn't happen like that. You know what I mean? But it is a word that I do use, you know what I mean? And so, but in my music, I consciously choose not to use it in there. You know what I mean? Because like, I don't want Colin rapping my lyrics back to me and like saying it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a conscious decision. Like, I don't know if you know the artist Odyssey out of DC. So Odyssey, and he has a band called Good Company. Like, he's a nationally known artist. But Odyssey used to curse in his music and stuff. And then he was like, he was doing a show, I want to say in like Switzerland or somewhere. And he's like, man, these people are looking back at me and they're like cursing at me. And they're saying the N-word back at me, but it's my songs. And he was like, and at that point, he decided to stop cursing and stop saying the N-word in his music. Now, the next album he put out, which was called The Good Fight, one of my favorite albums ever. Like one of my favorite albums ever. I would implore everyone to please go listen to The Good Fight by Odyssey.
That's crazy. It's like it's a really cool reflection on like just the genuineness of who you are as a person, that not only is like, you know, you always hear in sports, it's like, oh, it's the guy off the court and guy on the court, totally different. And it's like, you know, but it's like, no, you're saying the guy off the court is the guy that's on the court. And that's not normal. I mean, that's really not normal. I mean, there's local legends, double motorcycle. I'm like, man, they are totally different guys on the court than off the court.
That's right. When you hear us rap, whew, I'll tell you what. No, but I wonder about this. I want to ask about this at least a little bit. Like when you go through it, and that's conscious decision or not, what is your opinion on artists and rappers, even local or beyond or whatever, that lean on such a word? Is there I've heard, or at least I've read a lot of pieces in my life that say, well, we should normalize it. You hear that argument pushing back against, so we should normalize that. What is your opinion on all of that? Should it be like that, or how does it go to you?
Like, I definitely don't think that it should be normalized. I think that it should just be more understood. Like, I think a lot of times the argument that I'll see more or less from like Caucasian people is the fact of like, well, why can't we say it? It's almost like asking. It's
ignorant, isn't it?
It is, because it's almost no, you good. It's almost like asking like a homosexual why you can't say the F word. Like I've heard homosexuals call other homosexuals the F word. That's y'all word, and if y'all want to use that word, y'all can use that word as much as y'all want.
That word is fancy.
Man, fancy. But it sucks too, where it's like so many people don't get where it's like, you know, at least I don't know what it is about like white evangelicals, right? Like, I don't know, I'm harping on them because they deserve it, but my
it's
God,
okay.
Like,
you have past hurts. It's okay,
dude, man. Listen, we all do.
It's okay.
But like with that, they're the people that are like, they should understand what like redemption means. And like, that's honestly what, when people are using N or F, it's like, they're using it almost as like a restorative or redemptive word of like, it was this.
Yeah.
And now we're taking that back. We're reclaiming that for us. This isn't for you because you had your time and fuck you. You know what I mean? And
my thing is always just like, why do you want to say it so bad? Like, like of all of the words in the English dictionary, right? Yeah. That you could greet a person with, what up, man? Hey, dude, my guy. Like, why do you want to say my N so bad? Like, what is it about that word that just, I want to do that one though. You know what I mean? So I guess I don't think it's a thing that's that hard to understand. I always say like, it's almost like with the Washington football team changing their name. If there is one indigenous person that feels that word is derogatory, then I'm good on it. Like, I'm going to try not to say that then. If you feel offended by that, I'll try not to say it. You know what I mean? And so I think a part of that too is like, I've worked in different facilities, like working at the Jefferson School and stuff with kids who have past traumas and things. So with reading past trauma histories, you may read a trauma that says this particular kid doesn't like being tapped on his shoulder. And that might be your thing, to greet people and tap them on their shoulder. Well, guess you're going to have to change that. Like, because that's your thing, for this person, that's a past trauma. So you have to respect the fact that tapping them on their shoulder might bring up some of those traumas. So don't do it. Like, it's that easy. Just don't do it. Like,
man, and it's such a bummer where it's like in society right now, like we're literally in that space where it's like, well, hey, like if you don't like that, then you're the problem. Like, whoa, like what? Like, whoa. Like, come on. Like, because then these are the same people that's like, love your neighbor as yourself. It's like, yeah, I get it. And then you're like, do you?
Yeah,
though?
No, I feel you on that. Yeah.
That's kind of where the things get twisted. It's not a local music scene thing. It's not that. Yeah, that's a sort of a life choice.
Exactly. I agree with that.
And what you do and the way that you approach this, and you approach this art is very specific to how you feel it should be presented, which is one of the things that I've respected about you more than anything else. And I respect so much about you, man. Like, that's you, like, golly. But you have been very what's the word? You have been very honest, I guess you've never done anything you didn't want it to do. That spreads above and below when it comes to presentation and all of that. And so when you have projects in the works, you want people to see them the way you envision them, because you have that creative mind.
I think because majority of the people that I grew up that were inspirations to me are that way. You know what I mean? Like Kanye West, for as much as like the Kanye that we see today, like the Kanye.
Did you see that documentary? Did you watch that?
Yeah, I did. That's crazy. Yeah. Like the Kanye that I grew up watching, he put everything into it. It was about the visual. It was about the music. It was about how it all came together.
And I just remembered the word I was looking for was intentional.
Oh,
everything you do is intentional. See, now Chris is mad about it
because Stitch knows exactly what I'm about to say, because Colin isn't in like that white evangelical Christian circle. That is all they say. Oh, we just gotta be more intentional. Let's be more intentional about our faith. Let's be more intentional. It's like, you can be intentional about stop saying intentional, please. But I knew that was the word that he was saying, because folks was like, oh, like he's being intentional with everything that he does.
And I think that you have to be, you know what I mean? I think in the things that you do, even the things that I may not have necessarily liked back in the day, when you hear Snoop saying like, it ain't no fun if the homies can't get none, like they was running trains on chicks. Like they was really doing that. So you might not like it, but that's what but he's rapping about what just happened. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, growing up on, you know, people like Snoop, growing up on people like Jay, your Kanye's, Lupe's, like Outkast, you know what I mean? People that were very intentional about, oh, we want our music to be like this, and this is how we want it to be received. So the album cover is going to look like this. The video is going to be like this. The production is going to sound like this. And I just think back then, artists took a little bit more time, because there was no outlets to just like, literally I could record a song tonight, put it up, put a cover up, and do a video right on my phone. You know what I mean? And back then it was one of those things where you had to wait, you know, an artist put something out and it'd be 2 years before you hear them again.
Well, so here, that's perfect. That's a perfect way to get to where I was going, because I know you're working on stuff. You don't want to talk about it, I don't think. So I'm not going to make you talk about it. But what I will do, though, is I will say we got one more song with this, and I'm going to ask you to explain why you picked this song here in a second. Okay. But before that, I want to know if you are willing to tell the people what you got going on, because everything you do is so calculated. Everything you do is so much the product of a vision that you have had for longer than 5 minutes. And that's the difference, man. Chris knows this. Any vision I've had, it lasted for 3 minutes and then it was gone. And it was it involved mushrooms and a lot of chips. All right. So I couldn't even say onion and garlic chips. But
plain chips.
Plain chips, yes.
I like plain chips.
I know you got a lot going on. Yo, and actually what I would love is to actually play that little verse that you and I got together.
Oh, don't give him any peer pressure.
But he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna let me play it.
Did you see how he gave me like the bedroom eyes? Like
he did. He like sat.
You know what I mean? Batted his eyes at me real quick. Like
I want that song. I want this song. Me and Stitch wrote a song. Kinda. I want that out there. I want people. It's the same thing with Chris, though. Chris knows. I wrote a song with Chris, and Chris doesn't want nobody to hear about it. Why do we know? Why is he cutting? Anyway, set up this song, and honestly, tell us what's next.
So what's next from Stitch Early is stay tuned. No, but I'll give a little bit more, because it's Colin, because it's you. because it's you. I can't resist.
This is what the people want.
This
People
is
can't
what the
see
people
Colin
want.
has taken off all of his clothes now. It is
Yes,
insane.
he is now dancing behind me ferociously. So yeah, so the next song that's going to be played is a song, I will say for now it's called All Day. That it won't be the title when it comes out, but that is the title that it will be. It's a demo. And so me knowing that I was coming here to do this with you guys, and I know Colin is always saying, hey, can I hear something new? And I play him demos like all the time. Like he hears mad demos and stuff. So I was like, all right, I'll play this demo on the show. Like, that's cool. I'll give him that.
So we got a world premiere.
Yeah, something like a world premiere.
We got a world premiere, Chris. What do you think about a world premiere?
A pre-world premiere.
That's right.
Yes. But yeah, so like, and this is one that literally, like we were talking about earlier with the band, kind of bringing it full circle, and how doing things with the band kind of opens things up. When we did this song at Alive at 5, like this song isn't even, this is the only demo recording of it, so it hasn't been recorded with everybody else. But when we did it at Alive at 5, rehearsing for Alive at 5 allowed me to make a bridge for it, because we were in rehearsal just like jamming out, and I came up with a bridge that is now on the song, but it's not on this recording, so y'all have to hear it on the actual world premiere.
That's awesome. What's it called again?
All Day.
All Day.
And is there any?
Yeah, you got
No. I was just gonna say, where can people find you? Can they check you out?
Oh, you can find me at Stitch Early on everything: Spotify, Apple Music, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, everywhere. Stitch Early. And also make sure y'all follow Icon Nation.
We didn't even get into that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to come back. I'm gonna have to come back for part 2.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just leave it. I'll come back for part 2. But Icon Nation, the Arise Collective, and Arise, like, we'll do a part 2.
all of the links will be in the show notes, so they'll be there.
Chris, do you have anything to say? Do you have to
I
say
don't have-
goodbye? Do you want to
No.
say goodbye to them? No.
Oh, Stitch, this was awesome. You and I have we've hung out like 3, maybe 4 times, and I always regret that they're never longer. So this was awesome.
Nah.
Thanks for coming on. Because we're on camera and everyone else gets to listen. You're in a freaking sling. So thanks for being a trooper. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
I hope your surgery was okay.
Thank you.
But man, thanks for coming on. This is awesome. And here's All Day.
I got a vision and a plan to shake the pile of lies you want. My dream will wake for doubt, it's time to mourn. When I create my destiny reborn. Again, no wait, it's greatness I adorn. I done put in work for the dream, been hurt for the dream, been burnt for the dream. Fell, came back, I done learned for the dream. Shed blood, sweat, tears, did dirt for the dream. 15 with no insight, a fish out of water dip, my toe light, fight or flight. Remember I would write all night, recite on sight, ignite whatever I don't like. Despite my slight beginners, I excite on mic. Bring art to the projects, dynamite, came far for the dream. Goal is supreme and we push to the whole team king. I've been working hard on my dream all day, yeah. All day, all day. Even when it seemed that the dream don't pay, yeah. All day, trying to keep my doubt on MIA, yeah. All day, any season, winter, spring, summer, fall, I do it all. Never was a fan of my voice, so I made the choice. Every bar would be payday. Ain't have it then, got it now, that's layway. Not tuned in to the sound of the naysays. They say what you can and can't do. I done heard them all, waiting for the fall. Cross some A, I handle. They pessimistic thoughts, nose never nods. With a mind that's nonchalant. My 9 to 5 supplies all my ambiance. The grind implies the times I ignored the taunts. Heard no. Young Beyonce, I'm on my fo. Whole response, I made my own show go. Built an audience, I hit stages with the wailers and the playlist till we make it what we on. I've been working hard on my dream all day. Yeah. All day. Even when it seemed that the dream don't pay. Yeah. All day. Trying to keep my doubt on MIA. Yeah. All day. Any season, winter, spring, summer, fall, I do it all.
The Could Be Better podcast is produced by Chris Perry and Colin McGuire from the Could Be Better Studios in Frederick, Maryland.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at couldbebettermeh.
You could also email us at couldbebettermeh@gmail.com. And don't be afraid to reach out if you're an artist, a band, anybody looking for a show. We'd love to book you. Also, if you'd happen to want to be a sponsor, we'd like to hear from you too.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give us a 5-star review if you like what you hear and want to hear more. And also give us a 5-star review if you don't like what you hear and definitely don't want to hear more.
His name is Chris Perry.
His is Colin McGuire.
And we are out of time. For now, this could be better.